Hey friends, Sean from SGT Report here with an update about spiritual warfare and the satanic beast system, which is now openly rolling out globally. And it's not for lack of reason, it's because the elite at the very top of the food chain worship Lucifer. And you need look no further than today's news from Breitbart. Gatekeeper of DC Society Sally Quinn comes out as a cultist used hex to kill people. Now you may wonder who Sally Quinn is. The latest revelation surrounds Quinn, the surviving widow of Ben Bradley, the Washington Post's powerful executive editor from 1968 to 1991, who then served as the paper's vice president until his death in 2014. For nearly 50 years, the entire social and political world of D.C. revolved around this couple, Bradley and Quinn. His career took off in part because of his friendship with John F. Kennedy. The gatekeepers of who was in and who was out, the elite deciders among our ruling class with the extraordinary power of the Washington Post, and by extension the rest of the mainstream media, to abuse and weaponize their will against the rest of us. Now, this powerful article by John Nolte goes on to say, in my mind, this explains so much. And he reminds people of the John Podesta emails which led to the revelations of the occult practice of spirit cooking. And he brings up Podesta and Clinton's tie to spirit cooking dinner hostess Marina Abramovic, who wrote a cookbook about spirit cooking and who is a full-blown occultist. And Nolte writes, let's just say it out loud. The most powerful people in our country are either outright occultists, are comfortable with witchcraft and Satanism, or are moving and shaking among those who are. And he concludes most powerfully, what we do know is that these people have completely rejected any notion of a loving God and moved towards darkness. As I said, this explains so much, especially the fact that everyone is shrugging over the disturbing news as though it is not news, as though it is normal, or at least as though it should be normal. That's how far gone we are in the United States of America, folks. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The attack on our culture, and the attack on our children, and the attack on our families only continues to ramp up. Now, here's the thing. We've talked about this a lot, and Ronald Bernard, the Dutch banking whistleblower, has told us the elite at the very top are Luciferians, period. And in this case, we are learning that the Queen of Camelot, as she's called, is an occultist, a witch of sorts, who honestly believes, according to her own new memoir, that she murdered 3 innocent people through the dark art of the hex. Quinn was born in 1941. She practiced the occult in the most demonic ways imaginable well into adulthood. She outs herself as a believer in the occult and as an erstwhile practitioner of voodoo, and the book is awash in tales of Quinn's occult prowess. She wants people to take this seriously, or at least to believe she takes this seriously. At the very least, she scared herself so badly when her third curse hit its mark, prompting a panic, that she vowed never to dabble in the dark arts again. You can read the article for yourself. It's over at Breitbart. Gatekeeper of DC Society Sally Quinn comes out as a cultist. Now, I read this to you because it was Richie on YouTube who reminded me that Planned Parenthood has teamed up with Satanists to promote abortion in Missouri. This is an updated article because about a year ago, I recalled that Breitbart had already reported that the Satanic Temple joins Planned Parenthood in pro-abortion crusade. And they wrote at the time, in the face of the growing pressure on Planned Parenthood after revelations that it was selling human body parts, the Satanic Temple has launched a pro-abortion crusade to come to the aid of America's largest abortion provider. And now, today, on the 13th of September, Missouri has reportedly doubled its abortion capacity this year thanks to the Satanic Temple and Planned Parenthood, who have worked in tandem to fight the state's restrictions on abortion. Now just stop and think for a moment how blockbuster a revelation that is. The Satanic Temple reached out to Planned Parenthood a year ago, and instead of Planned Parenthood saying, we want nothing to do with you people, we don't have anything to do with Satanism, abortion is just a woman's right to choose, they happily leapt into the relationship and in tandem have doubled Missouri's capacity for abortions this year. Now, if you don't think that what we're battling is spiritual warfare, I'd remind you that around the time that Breitbart originally reported on this relationship or partnership between Planned Parenthood and the Satanic Temple, I had released my interview with James Perloff, which was titled, "The Elite Don't Want You to Know God is Real." and that was on June 22nd, 2016, and here's what I said at the time. Spiritual warfare is alive and well on this planet. The Gotthard Tunnel opening ceremony on June 1st in Switzerland is just one of the best recent examples. That ceremony, which cost more than $8 million, was littered with satanic imagery, symbolism, and of occult importance to the elite. And take a look at what's going on at CERN and the occult agenda with Shiva, the goddess of destruction, positioned outside of the CERN Large Hadron Collider facility. The work of Anthony Patch has done much to reveal the elite's plans with CERN, the largest and most complex machine ever built in the history of mankind, and yet most people don't even know it exists. The point is, if the powers that be can make people of the world believe that the beauty of this earth and the incredible complexity of life on this planet is nothing more than a random accident, that there is no creator, no designer, then they can get you to put down your defenses, your spiritual shields, so that you no longer have the eyes to see and the ability to recognize that the spiritual warfare in which the elite are actively engaged is very real, and it's unfolding all around us at this very moment. Now, I just want to share with you a couple more recent news items because something is going on in our culture and with our young people. This comes from the Boston Globe just the other day. A Groton, Massachusetts quadruple murder suspect allegedly killed his mother, grandparents, and their caretaker with a baseball bat. Now, this 22-year-old young man, allegedly, after being picked up by his mother and brought to the grandparents' house, bludgeoned these 4 adults with a baseball bat and then showed up naked at a neighbor's house saying, "Please help me, I've just murdered 4 people." That does not happen in a normal society. By all accounts, this was a young, talented jazz musician and an otherwise normal kid. And it reminds me very much of this horrifying story from about a year ago, August 24th, 2016, in which a frat boy, after leaving a restaurant that he was dining at with his parents and walking home, walked by a couple sitting in their garage with the door open, having a beer, and he approached them, broke a vodka bottle, stabbed and killed the couple, and then ate the husband's face and stomach. Police say Austin Haroff, 19, may have ingested caustic chemicals inside the garage of the couple he is accused of killing. But if you read into the story, it's revealed that police are convinced that Haroff overdosed on a synthetic drug called Flakka. Now guys, if you've ever seen any of the images, the video of people in New York City and other cities flailing about on the ground on Flakka, some of them violently, some of them diving through car windows, you have to understand that we are under a brutal attack. There is no other time in human history where a 19-year-old Austin Haroff would have walked by a garage in which a couple were sitting outside in the evening, and he would have attacked them and ate the man's face and stomach. This is absolutely spiritual warfare under which we are now all victims as the CIA brings in heroin from Afghanistan and the pharmaceutical companies flood our cities and states with opioids, and as the streets are also flooded with drugs like K2, synthetic marijuana, and Flakka. This was, by all accounts, a normal young man who liked to work out, and he stabbed a Florida couple to death before cannibalizing one of their bodies. It's just the most horrifying story, and it's evident that those that are aligned against humanity are purposefully carrying out a plan, an evil plan, a satanic plan, a Luciferian Illuminati plan that was hatched long ago. I will leave you with this soundbite from Myron Fagan, who in 1967 described in detail the events in the news that we see today. And he says everything was planned, and the elite only have one goal. Thanks for listening. For real news and information, visit us at sgtreport.com 24/7.
Now let's go back to the birth of the Illuminati. Adam Weishaupt was a Jesuit-trained professor of canon law, teaching in Ingolstadt University when he defected from Christianity to embrace the Luciferian conspiracy. It was in 1770 that the professional moneylenders, the then recently organized House of Rothschild, retained him to revise and modernize the age-old protocols of Zionism, which from the outset was designed to give the synagogue of Satan, so named by Jesus Christ, ultimate world domination, so they could impose the Luciferian ideology upon what would remain of the human race after the final social cataclysm by use of satanic despotism. Weishaupt completed his task May 1st, 1776. Now you know why May 1 is the great day with all communist nations to this very day. That was the day, May 1, 1776, that Weishaupt completed his plan and officially organized the Illuminati to put the plan into execution. That plan required the destruction of all existing governments and religions. That objective was to be reached by dividing the masses of people whom he, Weishaupt, termed Goyim, or human cattle, into opposing camps in ever-increasing numbers on political, social, economic, and other issues, the very conditions we have in our country today. The opposing sides were then to be armed and incidents provided which would cause them to fight and weaken themselves and gradually destroy national governments and religious institutions. Again, I say, the very conditions in the world today.